Everyone, welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK, and today we'll be talking about how Amazon sellers can deal with Amazon suspensions. So I'm joined by Anne from getunsuspended.com, and we'll directly dive into the topic. Welcome to our podcast, Anne.
Thank you for having me. I'm absolutely so happy to be here and give some free advice and hopefully help people.
Excellent. So this is a really, really difficult topic to discuss sometimes because you trade for years and suddenly you get an email saying, "Oh, your account been suspended." So nobody wants to see that. So what is obviously when some sellers get that, it's not a good situation. So what is the first thing sellers need to think when they see the emails like that?
Well, to be honest with you, the first time people see that email is they panic,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is totally understandable. But the best advice we can give you is to read the email that you receive fully. Read it, go make a cup of tea or have a shot of whiskey or whatever it is that is your tip, or have a piece of chocolate, whatever it is, calm yourself down and then go back to the email, reread the email and find out exactly what it is that Amazon is actually asking you for. Now, one of the things that's really important when you're reading this email is to take note of the timeline, because sometimes you can have a suspension for not corresponding with Amazon in the correct amount of time. So if, for instance, it's an IP claim, some of those are 24 hours that you have to contact Amazon and give them lots of information for. So what we say is, as soon as you receive this email, read it, try and understand it. If you don't fully understand what they're kind of talking about, you need to do a little bit of detective work. So go into your Seller Central account, have a look, see what's showing up as read, click into all the links, read what's going on. But as I say, really do look at the timeline, because even if you get rid of your IP complaint, for instance, if you haven't contacted them in time, you can still be suspended and have to go through the whole process again to get unsuspended because of the timeline. So
yeah, so I think reading that emails and attention to detail is the key. So generally they ask you to create a plan of action, and it's very vague generally. So what's your suggestions on that? How can we put a plan of actions together?
So what we suggest is, when you try and put a plan of action together, read on the email exactly what Amazon are asking you for. So it'll be like a root cause of why this situation happened. What have you done? Sometimes they will ask you, depending on obviously the claim, that the complaint that's come against you, they will ask you to supply supplier details. And sometimes they'll ask you for third-party supplier details, which is really quite interesting. So what you have to do is go back to your supplier and ask them for their supplier's details. Now, sometimes they won't give it, sometimes they will. So it's a bit of a difficult one. But what you would do is you would do a root cause. So why this situation has happened. The fact that you're aware that Amazon have dealt with, sent you this email because of this situation. You're very sorry. Whenever you write to Amazon, always be polite. That is the biggest thing we can say. Always be polite. Don't start pointing the finger at them and saying, oh, this is your fault or the postman's fault or someone else's fault. So when you're writing your plan of action, always be polite. Start off with the root cause. Then start off with giving the details of your supplier. So what you will need to do is make sure you actually list in the document the company name that you got it from, their address, customer service email address, customer service email, telephone number, put the ASIN that you're dealing with, and then put why you think this has happened. How you've rectified it within your company. So, for instance, if you've then created a training pack for your team and everyone has to read it and sign it, write that. You don't have to supply it to Amazon, but write it down and say that this is what you've done. This is the procedures you've put in place, and this is what you intend to do going forward. So, as I say, don't blame anyone else. You don't necessarily have to blame yourself for whatever's happened, but put it in the document. Start with the root cause. I'm kind of repeating myself here, I'm sorry, but start with the root cause and then just go through add in all the information that they have asked you to provide. Now, the one thing I would say here is when you are writing this, just be a little bit careful. Don't embellish anything. Don't put anything where Amazon can actually turn around and say, oh, we didn't know about that, about their account. So let's keep them suspended and ask them to clarify what this bit is. So be concise, be truthful, don't lie in there, and then everything should be absolutely okay. But just remember as well that the first plan of action you submit to Amazon, very rarely accepted. So don't be disheartened if you have to do it 2 or 3, 4 times. Amazon will never, or not never, but very rarely accept it on the first submission.
Okay, you mentioned a couple of times here in submission. So is it doing repeated appeal? Does it lower the chance of getting account unsuspended?
No.
No, okay.
Definitely not. The only time that you can harm yourself when adding appeals is if you're sending emails to Amazon saying, I've sent my appeal, what happens next? When are you going to reply to me? Because on the email that you receive, they will potentially say that they'll come back to you in 48 hours, but it really depends on how busy they are. It could be a week before they get back to you and say, no, you're still suspended, or yes, you've got your account back. So don't send lots of emails in saying what's going on. Don't chase Amazon, basically. My rule of thumb is 1 communication from Amazon, 1 communication from you.
Okay.
And then
sure. So if we are waiting for a situation like a week or 10 days, do you suggest we still wait, or book a call with them? We still wait. Okay.
Yeah, I would, because it really depends on how busy Amazon are. They have thousands of people who work there. And basically, we've heard of some research that someone did a few years ago, where they're looking at 7 to 10 plans of actions every hour. I mean, that's a lot to read and assimilate and go, yes, I'm going to give that person, a lot of attention and a lot of time, and I'll invest and I'll look at this and I'll look at that. Amazon will not do any research for you. So if there's anything that you need them to look at, put it in the plan of action as well. Send a link. Because they will not, they will not do any research at all. They will not say, oh, let's go and have a look at this company's website. They just won't do it. They don't have time. So yeah, I think if you haven't heard back from them in a month, then reach out to them again. But that's so rare that you don't hear in a month. So rare.
Sure. So you mentioned about supplier details, and I believe, is that related with invoices? What you meant to say earlier? Okay.
Yes.
So why are invoices so important?
So invoices are so important because Amazon, when they ask you to prove where if you've had like an inauthentic claim or a counterfeit claim, what they want to know is where you've received your products from. Are they real? They want to know that you haven't received anything you haven't been buying stuff and trying to sell it from eBay or car boot sales. They can't actually prove to themselves that it's inauthentic. They don't want to be selling fake products on Amazon, because that is absolutely against their policies. So what they want, invoices are so important. So when you purchase something, it must be a proper invoice, must have the word invoice on it, must have the company name on it, must have your name and address that Amazon holds on it as well, must have the product details. Now, when you're dealing with product details as well, if the invoice only has a product code, for instance, my suggestion would be get the product in, look at the invoice. If it's only got a product code and there's a product code on the actual product itself, take a photograph of the two of them next to each other. That way you can prove to Amazon, yes, this is a genuine product, because this invoice, which is real, matches the actual product itself. So invoices are very important. And if you do send an invoice into Amazon and you've sent 20 products in and your invoice only says 10, Amazon will keep you suspended, because they will say, why is there only 10? You sent us 20 products. Where did you get the other 10 products from? So keep your invoices for 365 days. And when you send invoices into Amazon to prove that these products are absolutely genuine, send all of the invoices that make up that total.
Okay. Looks like it's they do check too much detail.
Oh, they do. They do check indeed.
I think it's a good thing because they are taking away the non-genuine sellers really, which is in some ways it's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. So thank you again, Anne, for your time today. Let's try to wrap up. So before we end today, so do you want to talk about your company a little bit and also contact details so people can get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So yeah, as Prabhat said, I'm from Get Unsuspended. We give lots of free advice. We have an absolutely wonderful TikTok channel. We have a YouTube channel, an Instagram channel, but we also have our Facebook page. So we give lots of free advice. But if there's anything we can do, as I said earlier, when people contact Amazon and say, how does the process work? What's happening next? Ask us those questions. We'll certainly help you out. Our email address is help@getunsuspended.com. And we love to help people and answer loads of questions. We've helped thousands of people with just general advice, as well as getting their accounts back. So yeah, it's any Amazon seller across the world, basically. Amazon always suspend people for the same things, no matter what country they're in. So yeah, so we're happy to help absolutely anybody. Come and talk to us, and we'll give you as much free advice as we possibly can to help you get your account back.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Anne, for your time today, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best for now.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.